Hello, my name is Sang Ho. Welcome and thank you for attending the second webinar of the MineMarket webinar series. Today, we're going to look at the topic of how to use Power BI to extract MineMarket data, a topic that is proven to be quite popular, judging from the number of registrations and by talking to our MineMarket clients around the globe. In fact, we know that a number of our MineMarket clients have already embarked on a journey of using Power BI to extract data for business intelligence, reporting, and dashboarding. The topic we're going to cover today include the following. What is Microsoft Power BI? Well, I don't suppose I need to spend a lot of time on this topic, as I'll leave it to Microsoft to do that. There's plenty of training materials on the internet to answer this question. What I'll cover today, though, is the basics of what Power BI is and explain some of the terminologies that make it clear as we go. The next one is, what can I do with Power BI? Well, a lot. I thought one of the best ways to address this question is to show you a number of examples of Power BI reports that extract data from MineMarket. And by going through those examples, I'll explain the capabilities of Power BI. The next topic is data source fundamental. Well, during this session, I'll be taking you through the exercise of building two reports from scratch using Power BI. Each uses a different method or different data source. So this topic is intended to explain the concept of data source, and more importantly, to point out the fact that the list of data sources that Power BI support is quite long. And the last two topics, building a dashboard step by step and publishing dashboards, are quite self-explanatory and are the topics that we will be spending the bulk of our time on. Before we start though, I noticed that a number of people who registered for this session aren't MineMarket users and therefore might not know what MineMarket is. So what is MineMarket? Well, MineMarket is a supply chain management system which tracks the movement of your mining materials from the ores that you extract and the waste that you remove from either underground or open pits to ROM stockpiles, and then through the processing plant to the sellable product stockpiles, then onward via logistics function. It tracks the transportation of your products to the port, onto the shipment, all the way to the customers. Behind all these physical movements, MineMarket also offers a comprehensive set of sales and marketing functions that capture the contracts that form the movement demands on the system, which includes sales contract, purchase contract, or freight contracts. Hence the name MineMarket. In other words, from the mine to the marketplace. The kind of data or information that MineMarket collects and stores is wide-ranging, from the movements of materials along the supply chain, which we call transactions, to the stock on hand information that certain locations of your products in terms of tons and grades, to the contracts behind all this movement, with the terms and conditions and bonuses and penalties that are associated with the contract. And finally, to the invoicing capabilities and beyond. I trust that through this series of webinars, you may find that you want to explore the MineMarket solution a bit more. If so, please do let us know and we can connect with you to do a more in-depth demo of the solution to you. MineMarket is capable of for all type of mining operations, including iron ores, coking coal, thermal coal, base metals, precious metals such as gold and silver, and mineral sand, for example. So in today's demo environment, we use an example of a base metal operation. Okay, let's start the process by going through the agenda that we have discussed so far. What is Power BI? Well, I'll put this slide up, and as you can see, if we can focus on the highlighted terms, then collectively they explain what Power BI is. It is a business intelligence platform or solution, yeah, that can connect to any data sources, and it provides a set of easy to use what they call visualizations that helps you to construct dashboard and report and gain deeper data insight. Right now, there are two uh, flavors of the solution. One is called Power BI Desktop, and the other one is the Power BI Services, which you need to subscribe on a monthly basis. Now, today I'm going to demo both of those through this exercise. Power BI Desktop is a desktop program that allows you to build the report and dashboard on your desktop and then you can upload those reports and dashboard to the web store, which they call the Power BI workspace. And from there, you can share with others. Well, a picture worth 1,000 words. This is what they describe Power BI to be. All right. Basically, you use the desktop version mainly to extract data out of your data sources, design your visualization, your report using a set of visualization, and then finally you publish that into the web using the SaaS service. From there, the user that you'd like to share your reports and dashboard with can access those reports using a number of platforms such as mobile phone, tablets, and or computer. There's a slight difference between what dashboard means and report means in the Power BI world. Okay, from the below, you have a set of data. They call it data set. So you may have a number of data set. From those data set, you build your reports. And then from the report, you can aggregate that into one succinct, high-level, mainly top-level information, and they call it dashboard. A lot of people, though, don't quite find the distinction between dashboard and report, and they call it dashboard anyway. It doesn't really matter, I think. For me, a report is a bit more detailed and more focused onto a subject, onto a business unit, and dashboard is a high level meant for the management, such as KPIs and high level aggregation of data. The next topic is, what can I do with Power BI? Okay, as I said, the best way to illustrate that uh, capabilities of Power BI is to go through a number of examples that we have collected. Now, this one here, it meant to show you the list of visualization, they call it, um, which is the gadget, the visual that you can put on the page and then start configuring. Okay, each of these box here is called a visualization. So one visualization is the bar chart. Another visualization is the table. Another one is the graphics, and then so on and so forth. So this is just a simple text. They call it visualization. Yeah. Uh, Next example, uh, a lot of people want to compare planned versus actual. So we have an example of where you can display planned versus actual, and from there, it has a drill down capability. So when you drill down to each of these columns, it would then show you the next level of information, such as, for example, if it is cold washed, then all the transaction that goes in and out of the coal plant, for example. Yeah, so it has the drill down and drill up capabilities, which I'll be demoing in the session. This example here show you how appealing it is to get the information near real time onto a dashboard, information at a glance. So the busy manager can just look at the mobile phone or the computer and look at the numbers instead of uh, diving into the nitty-gritty of the report, daily report, or instead of picking up the phone and calling the site. They have the information in front of them and it refreshes every few minutes or so. And the kind of information that it draws onto this page come from various data sources, from MineMarket, from production accounting, and sometimes from C-class, which is to do with the grade. This is one example for the sales and marketing people who want to keep up to date with the shipment lineup, which ship is coming to our port next, etc. Now, here we have this so-called mobile layout. So I can project this onto my mobile phone. Okay, it may be a bit small, but if all I need to know is what's the next shipment and what's the name of it, what's it coming to pick up, then that is sufficient. Last but not least, last week our webinar topic was equipment usage. Okay, so you might want to put up a dashboard for equipment utilization. Okay, you can then slice and dice. You can find out all kind of intelligence or KPIs for your equipment. With that, we have one more topic to cover before we start building our reports. That is the data source. Now, as the name implies, what is data source? A data source can be a lot of things. Okay, could be your database, could be Excel file, could be Access, could be the web pages, and it could be also via what we call OData, which is one of the two methods I'm going to do today. All right, so I'll be using two methods. One is via view, database view, and the other one is via what we call OData. All right, as I just said, the first example I'll be building is a report using database view. And then when you start Power BI and you say, I want to get data, then it asks you, well, what data source it is. So you got to select from a long list of data sources. The first example, I'll be using database, which I need to specify my, what the type of database I want to connect to. And with that, I'm using a database view. The second example, I'll be using what we call the old data, which is open data connectivity. I'll explain that to you a bit later. Interestingly though, old data feed is put under the category of other. All right. So let's start with building the first report using database views as our data source. Okay. The slight difference between database view and open data protocol or data is data view is provided by database view, as the name suggests. Views can be built by either by us for you or by your power users. If you have the knowledge that can create views from your data set tables, then you can do that. It can be a part of data mart. I am aware that some of our MineMarket users are busy building their own data warehouse and data mart. So a view can simply be one of the many tables or views within your data mart. Database views approach is a lot simpler than OData, and it's quite flexible, and you are in control. Okay, if you find that you need a query, a view that a bit more complicated, through our support system, you can connect with us, and we can show you how that we can provide you with the SQL queries for you to build a view. So in the example that we're going to do today, I'm using the base metal BM, okay, BM Track BM, which is Track base metal database, and then the data model also base metal as well. Then through the views, I'm building that report using Power BI. All right, so let's stop there, and we'll come back to this later after the first report that we'll build using view. So this is on old data. Okay, so this is our end product that I'd like to build. We'd like to build a very simple report to show you the step-by-step, how to build Power BI report from scratch. So that's our aim. And this is the step that I'm going to go through to build the report. All right, so let me start building the report now. It will take about a few minutes. So I start Power BI from scratch. And first thing it would ask me is, what sort of data you want to get? So I say get data. As I showed you before, to do view, I need to select from this list here, okay, a database, or I can just zoom into database. And then my database, my backend database is SQL Server database. So I say connect. It will go through the credential checking to see whether I have the rights to access the database. And it will come up with another question in a minute. All right. Now, what is the server? For me, my server name is the following. So I put it in here so I can copy and paste. This is my laptop. I run everything on my laptop. So this is my database server name. In your case, you need to ask your database administrator for the server name. So within that server, there might be a number of what they call databases or schema. What schema or what database you want to connect to. For me, that is data model, base metal. Okay. And then I have two options in terms of data connectivity. One is I import the data into Power BI repository, or I can just link to my database and I do a direct query. So the option is yours. I prefer to do import. So I say, okay. Now, within that data model or database, there will be a lot of tables and there'll be a lot of views. Okay. And I have, for simplicity, only a few views in this case. So I choose to select this one here because our objective is to build the stockpile balance table, the report. Say load. It would then go and read my data from the view. Once it's done, it's listed here. I can have here many views or tables. Okay, in this case, for simplicity, I only loaded one view or one table. Now, this view is especially constructed or built by myself to make it easy to draw data from MineMarket. Now, the list of visualization that I kept mentioning, okay, these are all built into Power BI, but in the marketplace or on the internet, you can find many visualization, some free, some you need to pay, that perform certain specific functions. If you find that this list here is not enough, and you want something a bit more fancy or more capable, or that does something that you need that is missing, in that case, you can say, I want to go and get more. You click on that, it will come up with a web page. It will take you the stores, and then you can just search for what you need. All right. So, and also I have here three icons. One's for report building, which is now we are facing now a blank canvas, or I have what we call a data view. Okay, so that lists example of all the data, so I can familiarize myself with the data. And then if you are to load up more than one tables or one views, then you can use the relationship model view to link various views together. But Power BI, it's quite intelligent. It should detect the keys and link and connect those relationship for you. All right, I go back to my report view now, and I start building our report, which looks like this. Just go back. So this is our target report. So I have a visualization that looks like a table. One is a bar chart and some other pieces of data here. So let me first of all put a table visualization on the page. So from here, I select my table, click, and then it automatically put itself in here. So I put in here. So what do I want to display? So I want to display by location. So I go here, location, I drag it and put onto here. Next, I want to display my stockpile underneath there. Is there a yellow line just below location? And maybe I want to put in my copper and then zinc. I just drag what I need into here. I might gold, silver, moisture, and what value do I want to see? The value is my tons. My ton I want to put maybe just behind stockpile. Okay, so very quickly, I have now built up a visualization that shows me my tons and grades for all my stockpiles in these 3 locations. Okay, the ROM location, the concentrate stockpile location, and my port yard location. That's how easy it is to do a report. And automatically, by default, it gives me a total at the end. I can suppress that if I want. I can put a subtotal uh, below every location. I can do that with fine tuning. Next, I want to build a bar chart. So I select the first vertical bar chart called stacked column chart. Now, the trick is you need to make sure you're not selecting any of your visualization. If you do, you're likely to change that definition from table to whatever visualization you're going to select. So I click on the empty space and then click on this stacked column chart, move it into position. And then what do I want to select here? I want to select my location and my stockpiles. So 2 levels of um, information I want to select. And then for my value, I want to select my tons, for example. All right, automatically is now give me a chart. Now, why does it do that? Why is that highlighted just half of that? Because I accidentally select that. So Power BI has this capability that it will depends on what you select on one visualization. It would then make that a global selection for the whole page. So if I select ROM, for example, so as you can see here, my visualization, the next visualization, in fact, the whole page will be affected by this selection. In other words, I want to filter on ROM only. And there is a down arrow here called drill down. So if I click that to enable it, I can then drill down. See that? Because beneath location is my stockpile. If I have another level which I want to drill down, I can put under stockpile here, for example, product, but I don't have it here. Okay, then they drill down, I can do that. Or I can go up. All right, let's look at our example here. Well, okay, so we've constructed that and that. Let me just put in this visualization, which is, they call it a slicer. Okay, so what is a slicer? A slicer is like a filtering visualization that you can use to condition the rest of the page. Here, okay, hold on, I make the mistake again. Look, because I am at the moment selecting one visualization, so it would change that. That's the problem, you see. I should not do that. I will need to go back and select my stacked column chart and then clear my selection before I select my slicer, all right, which is here. I put it to my right hand side. And for my slicer, all I want is location because I want to use it as my filtering condition. All right, then you can see I can select my port stockyard. That will condition the other 2 visualization to filter out everything but port stockyard. I can unselect it, which would put everything back to select all. All right, now lastly, if I want to put a title on here, let me just go and do that. That will be a text box. Okay, unfortunately, a lot of users have complained about this visualization. You can't do much apart from just a simple piece of text. There's no, not much you can do let's say this is stockpile balance, and you can do what you can do is just doing this and maybe bolding it. That's all. There's very little control. I can't even change the color of that. Okay, so that is it. If I can go back to my PowerPoint to see what else have we missed. That is about it, I think. So that concludes the exercise of building my first report using database view. Of course, there are many fine-tuning you can do. For example, here, I don't like the title called tons by location. Okay, I can do that by going to the second gadget here, formatting, report, the title. I can change my title here. Just say location, yeah, for example. Okay, so you can see now it changes, and I can further define how I want the pop-up to be. Okay, in this case, default. It shows you the location name and also the ton, etc. I can do number of decimal place. I can do right justification, right left justification. All that is within the power of Power BI. I'll leave it at that. Let's start going through the second exercise, which is to build a report using OData. All right, so this is the target report. Okay, how do I do that? Now, when I'm using the old data feed as my source, my data source, I need to specify the URL for the web services. All right, if I enlarge this slide, now under your list of services or on your server, you need to have these services running. Of course, MineMarket service. Okay, you have also have other 5 more services you need to enable and have it running. If they're not running, that means you are not able to use old data feed. Okay, if I can just pause here and go to my list of services, I'll show you. Here under data mine, okay, I have all these services running except for one, which is a search service, which I'm not using at the moment. But these are the service that you must have it running. What else do you need to know? You also need to know 2 URLs. Okay, those are the URL that you talk to, okay, from your machine to the server, to the web services that access the old data feed. All right. So today we have 2 services. One to provide the list of tables, they call it, or objects for logistics or inventory management. The other one is for the list of functions or tables for sales and marketing. All right. So from time to time, I'll come back to here. I need to copy those 2 URL. Let's start another session of Power BI from scratch. This time, when it asks me to get data, I'll select old data feed. Okay. I could also select recent sources as well, but I don't want to do that because I want to start everything from scratch. Get data. This time we go to other, and in there I have old data feed. Yeah, connect. Then Power BI look for web services that advertise themselves as old data provider, and then I can now start. So let me just bring up the list of MineMarket sales and marketing tables first. So this is sales and marketing objects or tables. All right. And I can select one and load, etc. But today we're going to build a logistic one. So I'm going to cancel that and then get data again. And then I'm going to select my inventory management list. Copy, paste, other, old data feed, and then what is URL? So this is the web services running in the background. Okay, this service provide the following list of, they call it table. Okay, so I select my my table, which is in this case I think is stockpile state, which is what I need, and then load. Now let me see what we need to build. I think we need to build transactions. So I make mistake. So I should be selecting transaction instead of stockpile state. That's fine. More practice. Get data. Other. Old data feed. And I still have my URL in my um, copy. Now I'm using transaction as my object and then load. So we would like to put on the page, on this report, a series of transactions. So what is the most likely visualization that I need? I need a line chart. I'll put it somewhere in here and then make it larger. And then what do I need to put on the page? I need to put on here my transaction date, transaction here, transaction date, access. What else do I need? I need um, my, let me see, the process name, process flow name in here, in my legend. And I'll need the quantity, which is the tons of the transactions. Okay. And then what else do I need? I have to do some treatment to my transaction date. At the moment, by default, it breaks down the date into year, quarter, month, and day. So I said, I don't want that. I want just one simple date. See that there's a lot of lines going from left to right, and they all sort of clustered together. That's because at the moment my filtering is not being done. So I said I don't want to see all the process flow. I only want to see one of them. So I go to my filter panel in my process flow name here. I say drop down. I will clear everything. Let's start from the pit. So my pit to ROM is first of all what I want. That's what I want. Okay, let's build the second one. I'm a mining guy, so I want to find out my transaction from pit to ROM, and let's do another one. Clear my selection, repeat the process, put it down here, and then I go through the same process again. So here is my transaction date. This time I'm going to select my discrete date. And then my process flow name in my legend and quantity. Again, I need to select my process flow condition on, just say pit to crusher direct feed. All right. Let's leave it at that. Instead of building more and more, let's leave it at that. I'd like to show you, let's say there is no target, okay? I want to draw a few horizontal lines that show me the target, my plan versus my actual. So it's my actual. How do I draw a horizontal line in here? I select this and then go to my, this last icon here called analytics. I want to add a constant line. Add first line, I want that to be, I think my average value is about 3,500 tons per transaction. All right, so that's this, my target. And I might want to add maybe 2 more lines, the maximum, let's say 4,000, not 400. That's my second line, but I want that to be a different color. All right, so different color, I want to be red, for example here, red. And I might want to add the bottom one, a minimum to be, let's say 3,000. Was that 3,000 or 2,000? No, 2,000 bit too low. But anyway, you've got the idea, yeah? And I want to change color, etc. All right. So that is pretty much what we set out to do. And of course, let me just add, let's say, another gadget, another visualization called, this one is a donut. No, sorry, a pie chart. And then from there, I want to do, let's say, order location, on the order process flow, for example, here. And then my quantity. And what else is there? My value is quantity. All right. So immediately I get a pie chart of all the process flow, but I only want to focus on my mining process flow. So here under the filter pan, I say, instead of say all, I only want to anything to do with mining. So my waste, my pit to ROM, my pit to crusher, and then maybe my plant feed. There we go. So that is only the process. Those are the list of process flow that I'm concerned with. I can build another page for my plant superintendent, and yet another page for my port user, for example. All right. So that concludes the second exercise where I have illustrated the use of old data. Okay. So if you want to explore that path, if you need some help, contact us and we can set up another session that go into more in-depth into this old data path. Now, let me save that and I will call it, let's say, this is my process flow for mining. Okay, so it saves itself as PIBX. All right, so having saved that, I now want to publish that. So our last topic of the agenda is to publish the report into my workspace. Now, I haven't mentioned to you yet, but I have an account to Power BI. So I'm logging on to my Power BI user now because I've already logged on many times, so it remembers me. And now I have in my workspace a number of what we call report. Okay, so the list of report that I'm going to publish will appear in here. Go back to my Power BI desktop now. I'm going to publish that. Okay, it's now connect to my Power BI service. And by default, it go to my workspace. So in a few seconds, it says success. So I go to my workspace now, and then I think I might to refresh. No, it's there. Process flow mining. See that? All right. So that's my process flow. And from there, I can share. I can do a whole host of things, including if I want to generate that as my mobile layout, I can say mobile layout. What do I want to see on my little phone? Okay, I want to see that as a top, and then make sure it's bigger. And second one, I want to just drag this on here and lay it out. So this is, once I access it using my mobile, this will be the template, if you like. So Power BI will render the report in this fashion. All right. If I save that, I go to my web layout. So on the web, I see it this way. On the mobile, I see it that way.